This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 349.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology. Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, kind of excited and a little sad. I'll tell you why in a second. WordCamp Finland is upcoming November 12th, 2020. It's online, of course, and there's that. WordFest is in January 2021. It's January 22nd. Reason I mention it is right now there is a call for speakers. Wanted to put the word out there nice and early. It's over at wordfest.live. So if you're interested in speaking at that, that would be a place to do it. And sadly, this past week would have been WordCamp US out here in North America, and it didn't happen, so it's very bummer. A lot of us got together on a Zoom call just to see each other, the organizing team and whatnot, and we're sad. It would have been interesting, it would have been a lot of fun, but didn't happen, and I'm hoping that 2021 proves to be a better year for in-person conferences, but not going to hold my breath. Anyway. All right, moving on, segment one. In the news, a couple of things here. 5.5.3 maintenance release came out. This maintenance release fixed issues that were introduced in the 5.5.2 that was rolled out like a day before. The 0.2 made it impossible to install WordPress on a brand new website that didn't have the database connection configured correctly through wp-config.php. And it also then introduced a 5.5.3 alpha issues. Somewhere in that database, in the settings, there was a flag to say, bring down the alpha version or bleeding edge versions and stuff. That was an error that was fixed as well. So all that said, it's all resolved. There was a thread in Twitter. There's a write-up over at wordpress.org. Check it out. So there's that. Also in the news, 5.6 beta 2 is out for testing. Of course, only test that on a development server. And lastly, the 2020 WordPress Annual Survey is now available over at wordpress.org. There's a banner up top. And alongside of that is the 2019 results from the survey, from last year's survey, which is really interesting. I went through the whole thing. It's really deep, really pretty granular. So I was pretty surprised to see some of those results and some of those statistics of growth and age and demographics, and it was really interesting. Take a look there if you're interested in those stats, and take the survey by all means. By all means, do the survey. And lastly, here in the news, I saw something yesterday or day before on Twitter that Matt Mullenweg may try to do some type of state of the word online because we didn't have a WordCamp US last week. So there's that. All right, is that it in the news? I think that is it. Yes. Okay, moving on to the meat and potatoes of this week's episode. But first, a word from this week's sponsor.
Did you hear that? That's the sound I hear when someone buys some content from my WordPress membership site. Ah, I do love that sound. How did I do it? Was it difficult? Not at all, thanks to Restrict Content Pro by iThemes. Restrict Content Pro is a full-featured, powerful membership solution that's super simple to set up. Need to connect to an email provider for member emails and ongoing marketing? Well, that won't be a problem either. Restrict Content Pro integrates with MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Aweber, and ConvertKit, and other popular services. What about reporting and membership management? It's built in. Yep, Restrict Content Pro has thought of it all. Prices starting at $99 for a single site, and listeners of this podcast get 25% off. Yes, 25% when you use the discount code SYNCWP at checkout. So head over to restrictcontentpro.com to learn more.
All right, and thanks again for sponsoring this week's episode. Really do appreciate that. All right, meat and potatoes. This week we're doing a WordPress alternative. I think this is the 8th or 9th version of this. I only have one more to go after this month. This one's quick because the last one I did so late in the month. Last month was what was it actually? It was Craft CMS. That was episode 346. So actually not too long ago. Actually that was number 7. So this is number 8 as far as the alternatives. Okay, this week it's Webflow. So I've heard about Webflow for a bit out there. I've seen people talking about it, how it's a really true competitor to WordPress and how people are moving over to it, whatnot. I'm like, okay, let me check it out. So I did that. I created an account, did the free trial, and of course I'm trying to do this for my friend Chris's real estate site. That's been the theme here, to see how fast can I build a site and what's the ease of use in this out there. So I went through the onboarding as I created the free account. They asked, how should we greet you? I gave my name. They ask a handful of questions, starting with describe what your role is: web designer, product designer, developer, marketer, entrepreneur, other. I selected entrepreneur. Who will you be building websites for? Clients as a freelancer, clients as a part of an agency, the company I work for, myself, my business. I picked clients as part of an agency. And a couple more questions here were, do you have experience building websites? I said yes. What do you want to build today? I said business, and I was testing it out. That's what I think I picked. And then, okay, after that, pretty basic stuff. Then the interface was nice and clean. Tutorial modal pops up, informs and teaches the terminology that they use, which I thought was pretty interesting, actually. How to add a row and then columns to an area of a page that they provide, how to add style to text, a button, classes. It's all front-end editing. And you can also then look at the mobile responsiveness. It was nice that it took me through the training, but I could not exit out until I got everything exactly right. Like they wanted me to change the padding on a button. I had to make that exactly what they wanted. 36 pixels on both sides. And you're kind of stuck. If I couldn't get past that, there was no exit out. I don't want to take this training tutorial, which I thought was a little annoying, truth be told. So finally, I got to the place to create a new site. And once again, working on a real estate site here, I had two options: business starter or a blank site. And then there's also a button, actually, view all templates. So I went there first. I saw a bunch of free templates, new templates and paid templates. Scrolling down the page, I found the tags area, and I could see the highlights of certain keywords there. And I saw they had real estate. So I'm like, well, that's what I want. There was also portfolio, agency, blog, photography, etc. So I chose real estate. And I'm presented up with 13 to choose from. And the prices were $24 to $79. Not terribly expensive, very much in line with a lot of themes out there over at Theme Forest, but nothing free in the real estate site. So I back arrowed and I went to the gallery and I chose a free template area. And I was going to start with a complete blank, but I'm like, you know what? I'll start with a business starter. So it already had pages. The pages that were there were landing, like the homepage, an about, work, team, blog, and contact. And I'm like, it's great. So I create the project, and Webflow spins up the site, and I was done. That was it. No, I'm kidding. I just have to swap out some images, put my text in, as I've been doing for the past 7 iterations of this. And my initial thoughts on the interface, it reminded me a lot, well, a little bit, I guess not a lot, but a lot of a marriage between Photoshop CC, Beaver Builder, and Wallace Inline Editor. So they had the dark mode. I'll talk about that in a second. That's the first feeling I got from it. So on the left side are a bunch of icons down the left side of the screen. There's a plus button, lets you add layouts and elements or layouts. Yeah. Square button equaled symbols. I didn't quite understand that. Lines was the navigator. Paper was more pages. There's a database icon, which equated to CMS options. And then it showed me a video explaining me the difference between CMS and a flat site. Interesting. I spent more time there. Not there, but on the site. I added content, modules, layouts, the standard stuff. Lots and lots of controls and settings. It's a little overwhelming. And here's what I want to be honest about it. The dark mode, the whole Photoshop CC thing that I had this memory of, not my favorite. Probably due to my old age and my eyesight. I don't know. Dark mode works sometimes, but not always. And I just felt like things were really small and harder to kind of find. And the minutia was, it was very granular, which is good, but like anything else, it takes time to learn where things are. What I did like a lot were there were a ton of video tutorials built into the site. That was really cool. I mean, and they were 3 to 5 minutes tops. Not even 3 minutes. Some were 1.5 to 2 minutes. But that was really nice to have that built-in tutorial system right there. So my take on it, like anything else, I mean, I built the pieces I wanted. I had some stock photography. I added the text. Wasn't super simple in one aspect. Like I couldn't, for a while, couldn't figure out where to put text on top of an image and moving things around. You can click and drag things around, kind of, very much like in Beaver Builder or in Gutenberg, the block editor. You can move things around. It was great. Or just the same as all the other services out there for the most part. My take is if you go with a preset template, or build your own, Webflow is a viable option. Better than some of the other CMS platforms I've reviewed. But then again, it's like taking the time, like anything else, to learn the tools at hand, to become proficient. Me spending a couple hours through the week isn't enough. You have to really spend the time if you want to get really good and fluent with anything. And that's at the end of the day, that's what it takes. I mean, we all use the tool sets and our toolboxes and the platforms we use because we know them and we're faster. Would I move right now? Probably not. Would I recommend it? Maybe. I still think some of the other services out there might be a little easier for the beginner, so there's that to consider. But if you're an agency, if you're looking at doing something else, and maybe for whatever reason you're just really upset at WordPress, maybe it's an option. But no, I'm not moving over at this time. We're not changing. Concierge WP, my agency, not switching. So as far as an investment goes, they have pricing available right there. There's individual and team plans. Individual prices go from, there's a free level. There's also different pricing tiers. There's a basic non-CMS version. It's $12 a month. And then the CMS version is $16. So I thought that was interesting as well. So you can actually just have a flat site through them. Okay, if that's what your thing, like anything else, I don't have a connection to them, but it was interesting. They have some nice looking themes. I just felt like it took a little longer than I had expected it to take to build out what I wanted quickly. And I just want something quick. If I'm going to go that route and recommend something for somebody that they need a quick little brochure site for a very low investment, I think it could have been faster. And I guess what really turned me off was that tutorial. I could not exit out. And that took a while to realize. I'm like, how do I get out of this? I don't want to take a tutorial. I just want to build a site. So anyway, there you have it. All right, moving on, tip and tool of the week. Another way to get feedback from clients. Like last week, I mentioned Pastel. I found another one out there called marker.io. Pretty interesting. I watched a little video on it. It starts at $59 for a single site, or it's like a single agency, 10 seats, whatever. Pretty cool. I have no connection to them, but I just wanted to share that with you. If you're looking for other options to take feedback on the front end from clients, there you can check over at marker.io. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks again to Restrict Content Pro for sponsoring this week's episode. If you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use the SpeakPipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, become a Patreon. There's a link on the website. If you want to sponsor the show, then you can do that too. There's a form on the website. Thanks so much for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.